Do not sell your residence until there is a ring on that finger. Do not sell your residence. If he says, "Oh, I'm going to marry you, sell your house, and we will join as a union later," you politely say, "No go." Happy Tuesday evening, family. All right, it's hitting about 7:20, all right? First off, really quickly, I'd like to thank you for joining me this evening as we listen to people with house buying regrets on TikTok. Two things we're really going to focus on are people who bought houses with their significant other. Oh, we know that's a big no-no. And then just a couple on people who just regret buying a house. So we're going to take a look at these clips. Some of them, especially this first one that we're going into here in just a second, I have not heard the whole story. It just sounded delicious, though, the first few seconds that I heard of it. So some of these I have not heard through all the way because I like to hear it with you as much as possible. Also, no Thursday live stream this week. I'm so sorry. We typically live stream on this channel around 6:15, 6:30, 6:45, all right, depending upon my work schedule. And this evening, I have evening work commitment, so there will be no live stream this Thursday evening. All right, so let's go ahead. I got the bunny ears ready to go. I hope you're ready. Grab your tea. Let's hear about people's house buying regrets from TikTok. This first one says, the man she was going to marry took everything. And I'm telling you, this lady, she's qualified to tell a ghost story because I only heard like maybe the first 30 seconds of this, and I was like, I got to wait for my family to hear this. So let's hear it together.
The man she was going to marry stole her house. They'd been dating for 2 years. Kathy owned her own house, while Joe didn't. Joe worked as a firefighter in Los Angeles and had a very good income and good credit. He just had never taken the step or saved any money for a down payment.
All right, so let's pause here for a second. The girlfriend owns a house. The boyfriend does not. Now, that's fine, all things said, all right? There's technically nothing wrong with that. But the question becomes, how good of a man is Joe, the one that doesn't own the house?
When things got serious and Joe proposed,
I bet he proposed.
they decided to start looking for a home they could buy together. Because Joe didn't have any money to contribute to the down payment, Kathy decided to sell her house and use the proceeds to put down on a new house.
Ladies, I'm going to tell you this, okay? Do not sell your residence until there is a ring on that finger. Do not sell your residence. If he says, "Oh, I'm going to marry you, sell your house, and we will join as a union later," you politely say, "No go." When he puts a ring on the finger, all right, then, and you started house hunting, your credit backgrounds have all been done. In other words, you all good together to buy a house, then you can sell your house. I don't imagine, and again, it could be reversed as well. It could be, guys, don't sell your bachelor pad, okay? If she comes, swooping into your life and she's just the most beautiful woman you've ever met, okay? BBL or not, all right? And she has you sell your bachelor pad on a word and a promise, no. So it goes in both directions.
Joe agreed to pay 100% of the mortgage as his contribution. I put Kathy's house on the market and sold it. She put 100% of her proceeds down on the new house.
I see a problem. Who's made all the investment? Who's taken all of the risk? Now, some people will go, "Oh, but Carrie, you're being so selfish. It's love." Okay, yeah, that's fine. Love is great. But if you're supposed to be a partnership, all Joe's had to say is, "Hey, sell your house and I'll pay the mortgage." Basically, if you really want to get technical. Now, remember, I haven't heard this whole story. So, okay, I only heard like the first few seconds of it. All right, so this is all new to me. So in my head, I'm thinking, Joe, who doesn't have the credit or the income to get a house, I wonder, where did his money go? In other words, has she vetted Joe for how he spends his money. Why is Joe so broke? Now, it'd be one thing if Joe had a retirement plan and all of this stuff. Okay, there are people who get married. One of them's not working, but they have a full-blown retirement plan because they've served their 30 years in education, military, nursing, whatever. Okay, that we're not talking about that. All right, because I'm a teacher, and I could retire. I'd have a 25, 30-year pension under my belt. I'm in my 19th year now. And I don't technically bring in an income, but I have a full-blown pension. So there we go. What has Joe had to invest? Absolutely nothing. And him saying he would pay the mortgage, that's nothing more than him saying, I'll pay rent, which he would have to pay rent anyways, right? If they weren't together, he'd be paying rent.
Which was about $400,000.
Okay, so the house is about $400,000. All right.
Found them a new house by the ocean, which they both loved. In talking with mortgage lenders, they realized Joe had a much higher credit score, and the lender suggested that only Joe go on the loan and later add Kathy to title.
Family? Was the lender by any chance personal buddies with Joe? Kind of that wink wink thing. It's just something to think about. So Joe has the higher credit score. But that's possibly because he doesn't have a mortgage. And sometimes having a mortgage can lower your credit score. So if Kathy's not struggling to pay the mortgage, yeah, Joe may have a higher credit score, but Kathy has, at least from what we can tell so far, she's proven to be the more financially responsible one. It's not all about the credit score, family.
I advise them against this, but that's what they decided to do.
So they decided to leave her name off and put his name on. Is there not an adult in the room? Kathy. And to you people out there thinking you should be Kathy's, okay? And of course, this could be in the reverse, all right? But for the purposes of this call, she has sold her house. Given it up lock, stock, and barrel. She's funded the down payment for the new house. She doesn't even get her name on the new house. Is Kathy's self-esteem that low? See, sometimes what happens is our self-esteem gets so low, we will do anything to be with this person. In other words, we're living on the fruit of denial.
Very soon after moving in, trouble started. They realized they were not compatible living together. Joe.
So she sold her house without even knowing if the guy she sold it for was worth living with. That's wonderful.
Was a hyper clean freak who couldn't differentiate living at the firehouse and sharing a home with someone else. And Kathy was a free spirit who had better things to do than spend all day cleaning. After closing, I gave them the information how to add Kathy to title. She was distraught the man she thought she was going to marry wasn't a good match.
Makes me wonder how long they knew each other. And sometimes you can know each other a long time and it still, doesn't work out if you have a sneaky person in the party.
So she waited a few months until she figured out what she wanted to do. When she knew she wanted to leave, sell the house they bought, and get her money back, she asked Joe to go through the process to put her on title.
Joe's probably said no.
He refused. He didn't want her to leave, and he could hold the house over her head to get her to stay. She tried to make nice, and he continued to refuse to add her to title. It got to the point she couldn't take it any longer, and she left him.
And now she has no house to go to because she sold it, and she used it as a down payment for the proceeds. Sounds like she needs to take Joe to court.
He hired an attorney, showed the chain of where money came from, but the law was on his side.
Let me guess why the law was on his side. I do Ramsey reactions typically on Thursdays, so I listen to a lot of the Ramsey show. I'm going to be willing to bet why the law was on his side. If this were the Ramsey show, Dave Ramsey, here's what he would say. You are playing house, all right? And as we know from watching numerous episodes of that show, we also know that when you are playing house, you do not have the legal protections When you buy a house with someone you are not married to, you do not hold the legal protections of someone who is husband and wife. So any money invested in that house, any sort of, I guess you could say, equity built in the house, I'm willing to bet, all right, I'm willing to bet because they are not married, the house is his. That would be the most logical. If you've listened to Dave Ramsey, and if you're one of my longtime followers, and again, like I said, I do Dave Ramsey calls on Thursday evenings, but not this week because I have work commitments, all right? But when you buy a piece of property with someone, okay, a car, and then, of course, make it really big and make it a house, you don't have the legal protections because they are not your legal spouse.
She had to submit a gift letter to show where the down payment came from. And he used that against her. After a year in court and many thousands in lawyer fees, Kathy walked away from the house and all of her money she had made on her previous purchase. She had to start over. She told me it was an expensive lesson, but worth it to get away from Joe.
Damn. Too bad the soundboard's not on. That would be a hot cup of tea, family. Wow. I told you that was a tasty story. That was very tasty. And men, the same goes for you too. The same rules for men. I think that Joe probably had planned this all along. You have to realize something, folks. There are people that are just sly enough, sneaky enough. They will slither you along. Okay? And really, I think Joe's intention was to get a house. And what better person to get a house from than someone who already had a house? Wine, dine, fall in love. Kind of like a romance scammer type thing. Wine, dine, fall in love, get her to do it. And again, it doesn't matter if this is the man or the woman doing it, but for the purposes of this call, okay, we have the woman who is the victim, but part of us has to ask, how much of a victim was she? This is one of those hard lessons you learn to accept your role in the failure of the relationship. Yes, I believe Joe never intended to actually be married to her. I don't think Joe ever intended to have a relationship with her. I think Joe was a romance scammer and she fell for it. I've been through enough hard knocks in my life. There ain't no way I'm giving up my condo. I don't care if it's 840 square feet. I ain't giving it up until I got a ring on the finger. All right. And we actually doing marital, looking for a place or staying here, whatever. But would I just sell my condo because someone says, hey, sell it and someday I might marry you? No, absolutely not. All right, let's look at this next one. I think this one has that god-awful TikTok music, so I covered it over. Okay, this one says, it's one of those music clips. Says, it's a guy sitting in a chair and he says, I rented a house for 5 years with my girlfriend only to find out she was the owner. Wow. So you see, it goes in reverse too. He rented a house, or he thought he rented a house for 5 years with his girlfriend only to find out she was the owner. Now here's the thing. It's really easy to find out who owns a piece of property because unless you're the governor, all right, where you can possibly get it, your private address as an unlisted residence, property is open information. So this tells me, where is his responsibility on this? Did he ever bother to look up 1234 Main Street South, okay, and see who the owner was? Too often people take too much for granted what the other person says. And I think a lot of the reasons people do that, or at least one of the reasons people do it, is they're afraid of the truth. You can't handle the truth. That famous movie, with Tom Cruise. I can't remember what the movie was called. But I think so often people don't look this stuff up because there's a sense of, I don't want to know the truth because if I find out the truth, then all of my dreams are going to go away. This was an easy problem to solve. Okay, again, it says, I rented a house for 5 years with my girlfriend only to find out she was the owner. I could find out for you she was the owner. Just give me the internet, some Wi-Fi, and we good. Well, and the name of the county you're in. Okay, here's another house story. I have not heard more than about 30 seconds of this. All right, so we are going to hear this together. All right, so grab your tea, folks, grab your tea. The screen says, I regret buying a house. It sounded good, but I admit I was not prepared.
Transparency post. I regret buying a house. I regret it a lot. If I could go back to January 2022, I would tell that girl, do not. Just find another apartment to move into, because doing all I have to do for this house and all the unexpected costs, high dollar unexpected costs that I keep running into, to be handling it by myself, is ass. So to all you young women who want to go out and buy a home, I encourage you to really, really think about it. Talk to some people and really see the ins and outs. I mean, it always sounds good. Oh yeah, your mortgage is only going to be $1,000 until they reevaluate your property taxes, and that bitch goes up $200. You know.
I can tell you, I live in a small condo. Okay, apartment turned condo, if you really want to get technical. I could have easily purchased a house, all right? It would have been a small house, but this was back in 2020, all right? I could have purchased a little house because they were affordable still at that time. I chose to purchase a condo even though it has an HOA fee. My HOA fee runs about $435 a month, and I just take care of the walls in. This is a very modest place, all right? We have a simple little dog run in the back, a sand volleyball, not even a court. It's kind of like just on the edge of the driveway. There's a place with a volleyball and a net. It's really low maintenance. Okay, the biggest maintenance here, of course, is the exterior with the trees and stuff. But we don't have, a fancy clubhouse and 3 pools and cabanas. We don't have all of that. One of the reasons I chose to do it is because living alone, I really, really knew that I didn't want to lose this place. And I understood that property taxes, and a lot of young people don't realize this. You can be given a mortgage at one, you're going to be given your monthly mortgage. That's great. But the property taxes, the insurance, that's all flexible year to year. So you think you're on, let's just say, you think your mortgage is going to be $1,000 and your property tax and insurance is just, for all sake, we'll just say it's $1,300 total. Property taxes, insurance, mortgage, okay? And you think that's great, but you have to remember the taxes and the insurance can change. And as much as HOAs can be a pain in the butt to deal with, not too much. Mine's pretty simple. My HOA, again, this is only a 3-story HOA, also a condo. A lot of the condos you hear about in Florida are the ones on the high rises, on the beach, in a flood zone. They're 10, 15, 30 stories up. This is not that condo, okay? This is like 3 stories, and part of the condo buildings are only 2 stories. So again, very modest. My condo would never make the news because there's nothing going on here. All right. But seriously, I always knew that property taxes and insurance could be variable. So as much as people sit and they go, well, I'd never want an HOA and I want a house. Okay, that's fine. But keep in mind that property taxes and insurance for a standalone single family home, that can beat an HOA any day. So I chose a really simple place to live. My insurance here is $50 a month, again, because it's only 840 square feet. So that's my insurance. My property taxes went down, I think, by about $50. Yay. Okay. From like $800 to $750 because I just got my property tax bill. Don't quote me on it. It either went down by $50 or it stayed the same. Right around there because I just got it last week. But part of the reason I chose not to own a house is just the physical upkeep of the house, the insurance, the property taxes, and it's almost like you have to pick your poison. I know HOAs aren't any fun, but to some extent, you gotta pick your poison. What are you willing to deal with? There is no free ride living anywhere. There's no place you're gonna live, at least not that I'm aware of, where you're gonna have absolutely no issues. People will go, I don't want a place with an HOA. Okay, so you want your own standalone home. Talk to all the people right now along the Florida coastline in standalone homes. Talk to people in standalone homes that are still forced into an HOA. Yada yada. So you almost have to pick your poison. But I also took into consideration my physical abilities. I have limited abilities with my knees and stuff. I can't go out and rake leaves. I can't do it. I physically can't do it. I can't even take a freaking job at, like Marshall's, all right, where I'd have to stand. because my ability to stand for very long is, no, it's not very long. Okay, like Costco can be too big to walk around for me, depending upon the day. So I took all these things into consideration. Buying a house, I think, sometimes is looked at as a flex. And we have to remember, when it comes to choosing the property you're going to purchase, whether it's a house, a townhouse, single, dual, what is it, the double homes, okay? It doesn't matter. Duplex, that's what I'm thinking of. It doesn't matter. What matters is, does it fit your budget? Does it fit your needs? The so-called poison aspects of it, can you handle it? So, something to think about.
It's trash. 85 degrees, your AC is going to go out. You don't want to know how much that costs. It's trash.
If you are not married, do not.
Okay, this is the next one. I have not heard this one beyond just the first few seconds also. It says on the screen, buying a house with a boyfriend or girlfriend. Oh, here we go.
Not buy a house with your girlfriend or boyfriend unless you have something in writing. This couple I know is together for 10 years. They have a kid together and have obviously been living together for a long time. They were never married.
I will never understand that. Okay, you will procreate with someone. You will buy property with someone, but you won't legally commit. We have to remember, the legal commitment is more than just, well, I don't believe that, our love should be determined by a paper. Okay, yeah, got it. What you have to remember is it goes beyond that. It goes to the legal rights. Who gets to pull the plug? All right? In a sensitive situation where someone's in a car accident. Who gets the inheritance? Should this person die and you've got money grubbing relatives that want it, but you're not legally married to them. Sometimes the piece of paper isn't to control whether or not you love each other, because it's clear with all the divorces. My divorce too, 9 years ago, okay, where it was his choice to leave, okay, whatever, all right. The legal paper isn't about a testament of your love. Think of it in terms of it's your rights. Think about that first video we just saw, okay? She sold her house, put a down payment on the next house for this guy that she wasn't married to. That would have been a whole freaking different picture if they had been married. That would have been a whole different legal scenario. And it's not about you're protecting you, okay, absent of, my needs. That's not what it's about. But it just surprises me, how two people can produce a child together. All right, have a house together, be like this for 10 years. And no, we don't like each other enough to marry each other. Again, it's not that you don't love each other per se. It's the legal protections that you get as a union.
They bought a house together and the boyfriend had better credit, so he was on the mortgage and on the deed.
Oh no, don't tell me we're going down this rabbit hole again. I'm hearing this for the first time with you guys.
And the girlfriend was not. They lived together for 10 years.
While having a child together.
They break up and the boyfriend is claiming the girlfriend as his tenant.
This is the mother of his child. Remember this. This is the mother of his child.
And he gives her a 60-day eviction notice, basically saying she needs to be out. At this point, they have joint custody of their kid. The girlfriend contributed over $100,000 to renovations on the property.
Ladies, we have to start using our brains. Men, you too. All right? It goes both ways. Ladies, because this is the story dealing with that situation, all right? If it were different, I'd say guys, all right? Ladies, we got to be smarter. We got to think smarter.
So there's a possibility she would be able to get her money back through an equitable lien. But at the end of the day, she does not have a right to the property.
Yet she could make a baby with the child. She thought that was good enough. They could so-called get a house. She thought that was good enough. Oh, geez. This is a mess.
This is one big mess. And to make sure you're never in a situation like this, you should contact a real estate attorney and talk to them about a joint ownership agreement.
I rest my case when I say the piece of paper isn't because we're challenging whether you love each other or not. Okay? It protects you. And here's the thing. If you love someone enough, don't you want them protected? If I love you enough to bring you inside my little humble abode, all right, I would want you financially protected. I would add you to this place after we got married. You would become a part of this because I love you. But it's always, like I said, it just strikes me as strange that people will, oh yeah, I love you enough to have a kid, buy a house, get a car, yada yada. But no, when it comes to putting you on the property, I don't want you on there.
Y'all.
Okay, this is the next one. I've not heard this one either. Isn't this fun?
I am regretting buying a house. My fiance and I have not even lived in it for a year. And we had to buy an AC unit already, which is thousands and thousands of dollars.
A lot of people don't consider, and the cost of the AC unit, the cost of repairing the roof. My AC unit's going to cost a cool $8,000 to fix. Okay, because it has to be brought up to code. I've already saved $5,000 for it. Yes, because someday it's going to happen. Also, I have I have a contract with a local AC company, and they come in twice a year and they maintain it. Also, if the AC goes out, because I'm on a extended annual service contract with them, when my AC does go out or whatever water issue happens, I get bumped to the front of the line, and it has paid off. But you have to get a really reputable company.
Obviously necessary and worth it, but very unfortunate. We're also trying to plan a wedding, so that was not ideal for the budget. And then we had gutters. And then on top of that, we now probably have to replace our water heater.
The water heater for my place was around $1,300, and that wasn't even the expensive water heater, and I have a tiny one.
Just can't catch a break. And before anyone comes at me,
We ain't coming at you, lady. You're fine. Share.
Have an inspection. None of it was flagged. So...
Yeah, I think people overrate inspections. They want you to find everything. That's not. As far as I'm concerned, they come in, they pretty much turn on the water and go, yep, you got water. All right? At least that's my impression of inspections.
It's been a rough day. It's been a rough couple of months.
Next video says, with the beautiful young lady on it, it says, never purchase a home with a significant other. I told you that's the theme of tonight's stuff.
That's why I didn't purchase my house with my boyfriend, even though he's going to be living there, and why you never should. Disclaimer, I love my boyfriend very much, and the reasons listed were not the ones that I used in consideration.
Okay, it sounds like she was smart enough and she decided not to buy a house with her significant. Let's hear her out.
But I do want to just educate you guys so you know. Unfortunately, when purchasing a house with a significant other, there are way more horror stories than good stories. Personally, for me, and honestly, I think anybody in real estate or finance will tell you, you should never purchase anything with someone who ends in end. So boyfriend, girlfriend, best friend, I would just never ever purchase anything with them. Let me give you a few examples. Imagine you guys decide you wanted to buy a house together, you purchase it, your boyfriend, girlfriend, and one fine day you break up, things are just not working out.
Perish the thought.
As most things happen in a breakup, you lose contact or you don't know where the other person is. Let's say someone's left the country, they forgot to make payments, or they don't care to make payment. You're on the hook.
Okay, I was going to say, that's another thing too. All right. You get together with your significant and you purchase. Okay. When relationships break up, there are people who don't give a rip about what happens to their credit score. Okay, in your mind, or in my mind, be going, well, if we break up, I'm assuming that you want to keep your credit score, your credit report clear. So we'll work this out until we can each go our merry ways. You've got people who will literally pack up and go, I don't give a darn, I'm out.
Let's say that someone left the country and you want to sell the property because you're tired of it. You can't. You need their permission to do that. Another bad scenario is, let's say you guys split up and one individual has decided they want to stay in the home while the other one moves out.
And we've heard that on the Dave Ramsey episodes. That gets nasty, family.
And your initial agreement was, okay, well, you're just going to have to continue making the payments. And then one fine day, they decide they don't want to make the payment. So now that you're not living there and they're not making the payments, you're still liable for the payments.
And there are couples, when they break up, they don't even care if the house goes into foreclosure. One person desperately is trying to save their report, save their credit score. They're trying to, keep their report from just going from, say, a 700 down to the 500s. But then you've got people that's like, I don't care if we go bankrupt. I don't care if there's a lien. I don't care if there's a foreclosure. Don't get a car with anyone either. But if you're gonna be dumb and do it, get the car together, because at least that one will get rid of a whole lot sooner than couple $100,000 home.
This is a true story. I had a lender tell me this, that one time a girl purchased a house with her boyfriend. She put him on the deed, and the guy worked in real estate, so he knew exactly what he was asking for. They eventually broke up, and she couldn't get a hold of him, and she wanted to sell the property and needed to go to court in order to get it resolved. Which, that is kind of the end thing. If you guys cannot talk about it individually, which especially if it's a breakup or something like that, you guys need to literally go to court to get it resolved.
Which involves attorneys, time off from work, perhaps travel even, depending upon where you currently live.
So it is a huge, drawn out, really expensive mess that's probably going to destroy everything. In my opinion, not only are you going to lose the relationship, but you're going to lose a whole lot more. And to be quite honest, when you look at the pros of purchasing a house together,
there are none.
There really isn't any, other than the fact that you guys can maybe afford a better house, or you can afford a house together.
If you want to flex, okay, and say how great you are together as a couple, just rent a nicer piece of property. Just rent a house. There, you can flex away. That way, when the relationship ends, all right, you can each go your own way.
Which, if you guys are not married and you can't afford to purchase a house on your own, you shouldn't even be considering purchasing a house. Like, unless you're married, you have like zero protection. And like I said, those were not really the concerns I had when purchasing a home, and as to why my boyfriend didn't go on it. I'm gonna make another video talking about actually more of the pro reasons as to why you should not put a significant other on your mortgage, because those were more the things that I was weighing more than these worst case scenarios. But I wanted to highlight these worst case scenarios because they are probably the worst of the worst. Like, now.
All right, folks. Oh, wasn't this delicious tea this evening? All right, let me go ahead and... Yay! All right, really quickly before we go, like I said, there will be no live stream on Thursday, but I do hope you will join us for the live stream the following week. And as a final note, I would like to thank my loyal and committed subscribers that have been with me when this channel was a fitness channel. I started this channel about 4 years ago, and I have people that have been with me since that day. Yes, Parlor, Mr. D, I'm talking to you. All right. And of course, I have a very loyal, faithful following, and I just want too many names to mention, but I just really want to thank all you guys, and I'd like to welcome the new subscribers as well. We've just, in the last 10 days, this channel has gained about 3,000 subscribers. So I've gone from little over 1,000, and last I looked this evening before making this video, a little over 4,000. And I just really want to say from the bottom of my heart, it takes a lot to be a YouTube creator. And for those of you who are new to this channel, I put a lot of my heart out there and my experiences about debt and bankruptcy, credit cards, and all of that stuff. And I try to use those experiences to help people learn. And I just want to say sincerely from the bottom of my heart, I thank all my subscribers, all right, for trusting me and allowing me into your living room and into your lives. It means a lot to me. I never thought I would reach 2,000, much less 3 or 4. And the fact that 3,000 of you have joined in the last 10 days means a lot to me. And of course, my absolute loyal, you guys know who you are. All right, you guys know who you are. I hope to continue to bring you awesome and outstanding content. If nothing else, we got the bunny ears. All right, folks, my time is up. Don't forget to subscribe. My time is up, and so is yours. Have a great night, everybody, and a safe Wednesday. Bye.